Hi, this is Zaro feedbacking your run. If you have any questions, ping me in your thread. Okay, immediately I can say that you should set your standard settings so that you spawn in third person and then you switch to first person when you load into the seed. Reason being is that when you load into the seed, you learn more about the seed itself, and that's always valuable because it's a random seed or filtered seed, but random, you don't know it. As for the scan itself, not a huge fan. Clean first scan, it's not too bad. We just didn't do like a floor check. It's always a good habit to do that, just to make sure that you're in the chunk. But we saw it immediately, so fair enough. Immediately turn your render up. Nice. It's not a good overworld, but we see a potential enter there. I like that we're just completing F5 here. It's very nice. I don't see maybe like this, but there's no kelp there. Interesting. But here you just make iron pick, gold axe, shovel, and then sword later or now, depending on how we play. Why are we dragging? Don't drag stuff from your hotbar to your crafting grid. You can just hotkey number 5 and then do it. Okay. No. Don't. No. No. 2 diamonds is always reserved for sword unless you have like 6 or like 7 iron and you like have nothing else. Always make a sword out of this. Sorting your hotbar here is like fine, but obviously you could be doing that while you're boating to your ravine. So yeah, not a huge fan of making gold boats at all. Um, I mean, I guess if you're, what I'm trying to say is that you should try and get comfortable with not having gold armor, because that's just like 4 gold trades that are just gone. But apart from that, I would recommend leaving your boat and door crafts towards the end of like getting all your wood and then doing it instead of getting 3 logs and then doing it. The only time this is useful is when you have like 1 tree here and then you have like 3 trillion trees away. And in that case, this is like fine because you're gonna break your crafting table right here and then you just get wood and then leave. But here, when everything's like close by, you shouldn't do that. I see why we. So I understand why we made a diamond shovel is because you wanted to make boots, but I'd recommend the more you play, the more you put yourself out of your comfort zone, the better you become. So I'd recommend trying to force not having gold armor. This can that like could also be overlap while you're like swimming down to your ravine. And you can just like overlap a lot of this like random stuff. If you put your food in outside of your inventory, so a lot of like top runners they'll just immediately put their food in their inventory. Reason being is that you can maximize the amount of stuff in your hotbar, and you can offhand your boat sort of immediately after crafting it because that's just immediately going to be placed down. So that's +1 inventory slot. So if you did that, you'd probably get this flint in your hotbar, and then this would be just much faster. I like that we're looking around a lot. That's like extremely good habit. This could be a potential enter, I think. But this is like fine. But yeah, it's like quite a fast enter, even with not that great island split. It's just because we just looked around, we knew where we were going. Getting gravel when you have flint and steel, a rookie error, happens to everyone. I wouldn't sweat it too much. And I guess we lost our door. Still recommend trying to overlap stuff, like the random stuff that we just didn't overlap it while swimming down. With these streams, will just pull you down so you can do stuff in inventory while still going down. Break cobblestone, get lava. Always do that. I recommend pausing at least for like 2 seconds. Always smart. I also noticed your FPS is set to limited. Always limit your FPS. But you should just sort of you should always F3C on enter so that you have home port records in your F3 in your Ninbot. Also you should have. So are we gonna like E-ray? I don't know what's happening. We're doing 30 FOV. I'm not a huge fan. This is ranked. You have a 10 macro. Just get in the habit of using 10 macro completely. I like that we're doing Quake Pro for everything. That's nice. Also taking a bunch of miscellaneous damage, but I'll talk about that later. But always F3. Sorry, always do your E-ray with 10, especially in ranked. I'm not a huge fan of taking like just miscellaneous like fall damage like this. You could have just boated down here or just taken better terrain by looking down. Took more damage. Like it's just like the small stuff like that that makes a huge difference. Also, again, you have a boat. You can like, if not boat clutch at the edges of those blocks, you can boat down there instead of just like taking damage again and again. I know we have 7 salmon, but you should still just not be. That should not give you the mindset that you can just take damage like crazy, because you can do that in the fort, but not here. Okay, we're just taking copious amounts of damage for no reason. I'd really recommend sort of leaning away from having gold armor and then just like working on not taking miscellaneous damage. Nice fast looting. I like that. I don't. What are we doing? No. Come on. We're clearly not like completely comfortable, but I'd recommend copying. So to go back, do we even know if this has a I don't know if this has a triple. Let me just check. Yeah, so we have a triple there. This doesn't look like a triple, but this could be a triple. But this is just like a very plain triple to gap seed. At the very least, even if you're not gonna do triple to gap, it's always worthwhile to go up here and get the trades. Although I think, just to be clear, not doing triple to gap is a misplay. Learn the route, and obviously it's like a damage heavy route, but you just need to practice a bunch and you understand the intricacies of how that works. Yeah, I had something in my head, but I forgot. We'll go with it. You just looked at all of this already. Yeah, like, we just don't have any pigs. I'll immediately say that since we're not comfortable, I think the best case when you're practicing bastions or whatever, the best case to practice bastions is without gold armor and just looking at what a top runner does and then trying to copy it to the best of your abilities. You don't need to exactly copy it, but the macro stuff is really important to copy. You're also 3 hunger down. You should eat. Yeah, offhanding fish. I didn't understand why I was a bit uncomfortable with what was going on, and I realized that we didn't offhand fish. You don't need to offhand fish, but it's like great utility for offhand. We're just not using it, so I'd recommend doing that. There's like you might not be doing it to fast loot, but then we're clearly not fast looting, so do either one of those things. Also using wood like crazy, but we didn't get shears again. So I think. Oh wait, we have spruce logs. It's fine. Yeah. I didn't remember that. What? Why didn't you break that block? There's a gold block behind it, most likely. Oh, you did. Okay. No. I'm stupid. I like that we placed a block above it immediately. This could just. We're not going. You should get the top blocks here too. Especially since you have not gone for a triple, immediately go and get the top blocks, the top two gold blocks. Now we're gonna go. Yeah, so like all I can say is just learn triple the gap, and because what you're doing now is gonna make it so that your piglins at the bottom are gonna be done trading, but you've gone up, so now you're gonna go down again. But to pearl out, oh yeah, pearling. So I was gonna explain why. Okay, just to like go back completely. Sorry, my thoughts are a bit messy, but the reason why you wanna hit up triple and do triple the gap is because um triple, obviously you get 4 gold blocks, which is good. You also get these 2 chests, which is good. It's a fast route, and then getting out of the bastion is sort of easier as well. To get both of these chests, you can break 1 block, build 2 up, and then get both of these instead of breaking 5 blocks doing that entire thing. Putting the enchanted crossbow out instead of the interesting choice. That had quick charge too. I would have taken that. But yeah, you're gonna just because you've done this, you're gonna be doing a lot of backtracking. Do you have a pearl trade? We do have a pearl trade, so this is like since we've done this, you would be pearl hanging out of this. Since you're on upper terrain, you have good advantage out of the bastion. And I think we're gonna do that. Why is our crosshair so low? Lots of time spent just doing not much. Again, not being completely comfortable is like fine, but you know these are the things that you're just like let's see how much time we wasted. So you started at, what is it, 5:17:13. It's 3 seconds that we wasted doing nothing, just like looking at analyzing our pearl. Sometimes it's better to do a suboptimal decision but not spend time thinking, because the time that you're thinking might be more than just the amount of time lost doing that suboptimal decision. So in this case, you can see a bit of the fort, you can see that it extends probably this way. I would have sent a pearl immediately here and just like gone down immediately. Also worth pointing out that you should shift F3F and RT render change. We missed our eat, not good, but we have full health, so we didn't get too punished by it. But yeah, this bastion is just really slow because we're just not doing stuff right, which is okay, but that's how you learn. Right. Fire charge should immediately be top left. You should immediately get rid of your FNS. Leather. I didn't talk about inventory management especially, but you want to get rid of the stuff after you initially check your trades. You want to get rid of the stuff you're not going to get from trades and are not necessary. So cobblestone, you don't need that extra blocks. I would probably just like get rid of this oak planks as well, or just make all of them sticks, because why do you need them? You have 12 iron, get rid of all the nuggets. Leather, you're gonna get leather, but it's gonna be big enough that it's gonna double slot anyway, so you don't need it. Doors, magma cream, the drill. And all of this, like nether bricks, all your 2x2 crafts should be done by the book. Don't manually craft them. Again, copy sort of the macro stuff that the top runners are doing. I like the hotbar. We have gravel and soul sand here. Don't know why we have magma cream. What you could have done, taking this opportunity, was, so you're not really overlapping time here, so there's like that obviously, but generally when you are overlapping time with like trades or whatever, you want to pre-craft your, so I would have pre-crafted an axe, 2 beds, a sword maybe here. All of that, obviously you're not like, you're gonna waste time here doing that, but I think it's still worthwhile to do it here, not just because it's better to do it here than on the fort, just generally speaking, but also it's a good habit. It makes you force, if you force yourself to do it here, when you get faster and faster, it's just like a muscle memory to just immediately go for it. But yeah, our axe is almost done, so we're gonna have to like pause in the fort and sequentially make an axe again instead of just overlapping it while the trades are happening. Not good. But I like that we have soul sand and gravel. You should just be relying on those. This also your book. You should just open it and set it to craftable items immediately, like overlap it in the overworld immediately. Or sorry, ASAP. Our inventory is a bit of a mess now because we're using the fifth slot for everything, and the fifth slot also has pearls. But like minor, it's like whatever. You can just like think about what you're gonna have, like a better hotbar, and then just force yourself to do it a bit, and it usually does the trick. Here, again, like if you notice, if you rewatch this, you're just not achieving much. You're just like looking around doing nothing. The least that you could have started doing here was Pyre for a sport. Sorry, for a spawner. Sport. What's wrong with me? But like, I guess, I mean, crazy's fine. Like, can you even see that? Oh, no. I'm gonna say you got lucky there. There's just no way that we noticed anything about the spawner. And that's okay, but you should have pyrite for it a bit. Don't manually pre-craft this. Set it to craftable item, then it's all right there. But I like that why we pre-craft a bed is that once you're at the spawner, you immediately want to send a blaze bed. And the faster you set a blaze bed and sort of clear out all the fire and even try to build out a bit, that means the higher the chances for the second wave of blazes to have like more, like 5 blazes or whatever. Now in this case, you see that your spawner is like absolutely trash. Like we have just like trees growing inside it or whatever. In this case, most runners would try and look for second spawner, and if you don't get that, definitely double bed. Double bed is always better, regardless of this, but double bed would be way better here because you have extra stuff and it gets rid of all of that. But look, we wasted time, so our second wave of blaze happened, and we have like one spawn. That could have been 5 spawn, and we could have just like left an entire cycle or two early. Punching out the flames immediately, I like it. I like doing punching out the blazes just immediate. Sorry, the fire is extremely important, so that's good. We don't have soul sand in our hotbar for some reason. This all the covering should be done with soul sand because blue flame doesn't block spawns, and it's also just a good block to use for these things. You still have a bunch of fire, and it shows because we're getting 1 spawns again and again. It's a bit unlucky as well. I think you should still get like 3 spawns on this or more, but yeah. The blaze split is like extremely important, and the better you can optimize it, it's like top tier important. We got a 3 spawn. It's chill. Again, our hotbar is like, yeah, why do we have a magma cream here? Even if this was empty, it would just have a blaze rod here. But you should try and overlap crafting blaze rods into ender eyes, sort of immediately, really, so that you don't have to do it in the portal frame, and you can immediately throw your eye when you blind. Fire chart should be in the top left corner so that when you open inventory, your crosshair is just immediately on it. Um, yeah, just be more careful, I guess. Again, you can notice that there's a lot of like taking stuff out of the inventory and putting it in your hotbar, right? Like, why is your eyes not in your hotbar already? Um, all of that is counting into accumulated wasted time, so it's not like a macro, so you can like not heavily think about it, but it's still something that you can just immediately save time on. I'd recommend doing that. No RTA measuring. Um, It's like not that hard to learn, so I'd recommend doing that. But yo, what the 53 block blind is crazy. When you build up twice, you're doing the jumping action, so you don't need to jump again for uh, losing desync or getting rid of desync. Is what I meant. 670, still pretty insane. You could have just done WO into the. So, what I'm trying to get at is that our 2x2 crafts are not done. Usually, you want to get your 2x2 crafts sort of done immediately. Nether bricks is the most important because that allows you to do your blaze bed or TNT blazes or whatever. Then you want to do wool and glowstone, and you always kind of want to do that before you've blinded, because when you just open your inventory and you set it to craftable items. So we didn't set it to craftable items, so our like book is a bit of a mess. But your wool and your glowstone should just be on the first page. We still don't have it. We still don't have it set to craftable items. Okay. You just, even if by typing R, you still want to set to craftable items because you don't have to deal with this junk. And again, we're crafting 2x2s manually. Don't do that. If you just set it to craftable items and open inventory, those would be right there. Throw the magma cube, magma cream. I'd also eat. You can overlap eating here. You're 3 down. It's like an okay time to eat. Really bad pearl. What were we doing? I don't know if we're nervous or what, but that pearl was just terrible. Just to highlight sort of what we did there. There's land here, there's land here, and there's land way up there, and we decided to send a pearl here. This would just like always land on the tree, and you'd always take fall damage. Again, you just need to think about stuff like that. Also, just like line up launch up thing that you do whenever you're like purling, where you try to look up a bit as you do it, is not good. Just line up your crosshair once and throw it, and you're not going to be dealing with sort of weird pearls most of the time. Just immediately pearl. Just pearl on the ground. With lots of thinking. We could just be doing stuff right here. Where are we going? It's 36 blocks. Why are we going this far? Negative 168, 96, 159, 133. Oh, I see what we did. We didn't move diagonally. We moved one like this and then this. Yeah, just so the distance is 36 blocks and we're moving like 128 for some reason. Again, it's like fine to make that kind of mistake. It's okay, but like you need to self-analyze and then determine what better terrain you could have taken. Like for example, in this, we're just moving positive Z instead of like trying to move negative Z. 96, like, so I'm gonna try. It's like quite hard to retroactively look at this, but that was a good pearl. You just continue out here. You're negative 140. What was our X? Negative 168. So you just go out here a bit, and if there's no terrain, you just dig. It's like 36 blocks. Even if you have to dig all of 36 blocks and sprint crawl all of it, it's gonna be faster than going around the entire globe. Like this is literally what you did. There's a wall here and there's like maybe stuff over here that's like empty terrain. We literally went around it instead of just going through it. And now look, we're more negative X as well, so you've just like added 100 blocks of travel to this. We could be using our F3 crosshair to not go wrong directions, like Blue is positive Z, the opposite is negative Z. Red is positive X, opposite is negative X. But that's a bit advanced. What I'm just trying to get at is just we need to be more aware of what we're doing. What blocks did we start? 168.96? Okay. 168.96, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I thought we were building on the wrong block. Change our render down, change our energy distance down very well. Immediately 30 FOV. Think we saw a spike. I don't really like how wow, we're just sending that 5 block jump, huh? So again, low awareness that we should work on. Not taking like random miscellaneous damage. You have a fish, you have 2 fish, you can easily go for 0 even on this. But doing a slower look around and getting a better sort of understanding of your spike is always better than trying to sort of half-ass it and trying to just go, because if you do go to the wrong direction, then you're just kind of screwed. There's mineshaft, and we don't have a clear reading, so I think it's a recipe for disaster. I'm gonna skip through this because I've already, like, the only thing that can be said is to have a clearer preemptive. Okay, but we're just like, okay, I'm gonna try and explain why this is silly. So you had a good, like, crazy spike down mid as well, but we moved so fast that we actually don't know if it's the portal room spike. This spike seems reasonable enough that I would probably send Wiggle on this and then send it. But you see that there's like no terrain here. You just go the opposite way and see if it curls around, because at the moment there's just nothing here, and trying to look for something that's not there is not achieving much. In fact, this, like, whatever might even convince me that it might be down mid, but again, I wouldn't be in the situation because you want a clear reading always. Slower preemptive and sort of look around. Again, copy any top runner and what they do. I don't really understand why we're doing this up down motion. Scanning downwards can be helpful, but doing it like this isn't really giving you much. It's just making it worse. You don't need to build those 2 blocks, you can just block this off and you're fine. Again, just to demonstrate that we're like not achieving much. No reason to do this, but it's okay. I'm guessing we're nervous, and that's okay. That's fine. Never jump up for this, and it can give you like weird desync. Always place the bed by the wall. Don't jump up to place it. Looking at a corner to doing it, very nice. I think for the entire sort of end split of this, I think it's just a lack of practice. I'd recommend doing a bunch of MPK, because stuff like Death Reset should just be muscle memory, where you like place a gravel down, 2 soul sand, just immediately send it every time. But we're still doing the macro stuff pretty well, so I'm not too upset about any of it, really. We don't have beds in our hotbar. We haven't put beds in our hotbar. To be completely honest, I have no idea what we were doing for here. I'm just gonna check sort of our inventory, because I'm confused right now. We didn't craft anchors. I didn't notice on the pre-crafting stuff, but we just how many beds do we have? Even if you have like 8 beds, I'd always pre-craft anchors. But yeah, we didn't put our beds in our on our hotbar. We didn't put like stuff, like you don't have obsidian in your hotbar. I really don't know what we're trying to achieve here, but if you really did want to make this with 2 pearls, you have to go out at least to the center and then pearl, and then you can make it. That pearl was just never gonna land anywhere close to being usable. We just had infinite amount of food, so it's fine. We can tank it. If you're gonna one cycle, it's always better practice to preset a anchor there. What are we doing? Were we... Yeah, so immediately start sending it. Don't waste time doing nothing. You have a crossbow in your inventory, that should just be immediately sent. In fact, you should just be here center and get all the towers and then move backward, because not only is that more consistent, when you can practice that, you get the same distance every time. But it also means that sort of you're not wasting time sort of dilly-dallying about. You've got a diagonal perch, I'm guessing, because we just, again, lots of dilly-dallying, and you're standing diagonal to it, so it just set its perch node to that. It's not too big of a worry. You can still like do it pretty easily, especially since we have like like shitload of beds. But it's more demonstration into just like we need to avoid dilly-dallying. But it's pretty good. We have the macro stuff down. I will comment that most of the macro stuff is done pretty well. So it's just a lot about working. There's no micro. Well, okay, I say the macro stuff is down, but we just didn't do the correct bastion route, and we got like 3 pigs, and then we went up and then backtracked all the way down. So this entire bastion split was just really, really bad. Let me just see how much time we spent doing stables. For reference, a good stables to fort time is like 2.5 minutes, a top time. So we've entered at around 2:47, and when are we exiting? 5:24. So 3.5, sorry, 2.5, almost 3 minutes spent doing. Oh no, we are still in the bastion at about 5:50. So yeah, 3 minutes in the bastion is not good. Again, when you're practicing, just try to bring that time down. It'll come down eventually. We're doing most of the, like, we're doing a lot of the good stuff, so it shouldn't be too hard. Again, I mentioned a lot about the pre-crafting. Pre-crafting is really important. Hotbar inventory management isn't that great. Those things are extremely important as well. Double blaze bed would have saved a bunch of time here. You just got like 1 to 2 spawns for 3 blaze cycles, which is partly unlucky and partly we're just not actively doing the stuff that we need to do enough. So there's that. Measuring split was also quite a lot of time loss. Again, MPK, a blind to finish will help you just loads and trying to iron out sort of all of this like time loss where we're just not achieving much. Preemptive, yeah, I've already talked about it. And the rest is fine. The overworld was really strong, I would say that. But yeah, I think that's everything. If you have any questions, ping me in your thread. Thanks for sending in your run.